edition of Life and Cry, where I cry and you watch me quest. Welcome. I hope you enjoy. So yeah, I don't know how far we're gonna get through today, but we have a few little things that we can do. We're about to head into the forum. Is that right? I think that is right. Possibly. But yeah, hi Micah. You got the perm standard mount from the new Nova spec. Congrats. Very exciting. Very exciting. Very cool. That's so cursed. It is quite a cursed mount. Hi Rose, welcome. How's it going? How's it going? Where's the Dragon Spire quest chain thingy, my bobby? Dragon Spire. Ashley, hi. Hi, Ashley. Hi. Talk to you. I don't like Ashley's new voice. Probably part of the reason why I do not have dialogue on. In fact, you know what? That is the only reason why I don't have dialogue on, because Ashley's new voice is terrible. It sounds like she is a chronic smoker. And I don't vibe with that personally. Right. Let us go into the Drake Hatchery. This hopefully shouldn't take us too long, the Drake Hatchery. Theoretically. I could be speaking really wrong here, but you never know. You never know. You're cleaning Stanley's tank, so you're going to be in and out kind of. Fair. I hope Stanley has a cleaner home by the end of stream. And if not, that would be very upsetting for me, personally. Because I am obviously Stanley's biggest fan. I have been his greatest supporter since day one. So, yes. I don't know. But yeah, sorry I haven't streamed for the last few days. I just honestly didn't feel like it. I could have streamed yesterday. Didn't really feel like it. And I don't really want to force myself to stream if I don't feel like it. I'm at the point where I don't actually really want to log on to the game as much at this current moment in time. So I'm just kind of like not doing that as much, if that makes sense. Yeah, right, we need to go to the matriarch. That's right. That's right, we have to do all of this gross stuff down here. Technically she's smoking a lot. She's on fire. This is true. This is very true, but I don't like it. It's annoying, frustrating, disgusting, gross. 0 out of 10. Not a fan. So yeah, Brent is in town. I am here. I'm in the town of the Drake Hatchery. That's where I am. That is my current location. Welcome, River. How are you today? Hope you're doing well. Has anybody else been burnt out of the game recently? Like, is that just me? Am I the only one that has been like severely burnt out of this game recently? Okay. Seems easy. Just a Spider-Man. Just a single spider. Definitely not what I was expecting, but this is a gauntlet, so hey, I guess they're just kind of like warming me up for today. That makes sense. Home from work and feeling great. Well, that's good to hear. Absolutely fantastic to hear. You're a bit burnt out. You play less time, but I still play. Fair. Hi, Prox. Welcome. How are you? How's it going today? Let's do another blade. We do another blade, then we'll go for an Earthwalker. Should kill, hopefully. That would be good. That would be good. He is just a mob, so shouldn't be too bad. Blade. Kablam. But yeah, nah, I'm just feeling a little bit burnt out. Not playing as much. Not wanting to play as much. Yeah, that's just where I'm at currently. Is this a challenge on your spreadsheet? No, this is not the challenge on my spreadsheet. That is not today. No. That's my Storm character. This is my life character. I'm kind of just in the mood for questing my life character at the moment. I don't know why, but I just am. And I kind of just want to be out of Dragonspire because I've been putting this off for a while. I've been putting off Dragonspire for a while, and it gets to a point where I'm just like, frick it, I need to just do it. So this is currently the moment where I'm like, I need to just do it. So, yeah. And then we'll get into Celestia, and I'll take another break of this character. That's how it works. That's how it works. Yeah. Right, next. used to log on every day to complete daily assignments and harvest your couch potatoes. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. Your storm is getting close to the end of Imperia finally. Nice! Very cool. Very, very cool. Usually a lot of people get burnt out when there isn't a new world out. Well, there is a new world out, and I'm burnt out. It's probably because I've been playing Wiz way too much over the last, like 3 years, and it's kind of just all caught up to me, and I'm like, you know what? Nope. Nope. Just nope. Dragon Spire is one of those worlds you don't want to be stuck in. Yeah. Imagine getting... okay, imagine this. You could choose any world to live the rest of your days in. Which one would you choose? Which world would you choose if you could only choose one? And you had to choose one. What one would you choose to live the rest of your life in? You couldn't leave it ever. Which one would you choose? Your Storm is in Chrysalis and he's level 98. Ooh, nearly at Darkmoor level. That's exciting. You don't count Novus as new. It's been out for 2 months already. Yeah, but I haven't even finished it on like all of my previous max level characters yet. I've only done it on my fire. Jeez. I've still got my myth and my death to go. Yeah. You're staying in Port Arrow? Fair enough. Honestly, I would stay in the aeroplanes too. That would be where I would go. That would be where I go. Mushu. Fair. Fair. Makes sense. Right, Earthwalker. Should kill the Molten Hunter. The Molten Hunter. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Kablam. Boom. Love to see it. Right, one left. And then we've got another floor and then the boss. So, or another floor of fight and then a boss. So, that's cool. That is cool. Marleybone. Fair enough. Marleybone is a great choice. Great choice. Great choice. We're gonna quickly heal. Because we need to. The vibes in Mushu. Well, I swear Arc 1 is just fizzling on hitting scores. It's a bit like that. I really hate Fizzle. Fizzle is a stupid mechanic. A very stupid mechanic that needs to be changed. It doesn't really suit, like, gameplay nowadays. It just is very unfun and uncool. Personally. For you, it's between Marleybone and Polaris. Polaris is too cold for me. Too cold. Way too cold. Way too cold. I'm on the aeroplanes. 100%. I would be locked in the aeroplanes. That's where I would lock myself. I would be locked away in the aeroplanes, and I would enjoy every last second of it. Every last second. You'd probably pick Avalon or Imperia. Fair enough. Fair enough. Avalon's a good choice. Avalon's a good choice. Shield. We're gonna do this first. Storm has low health and low accuracy. It does. It does. It is pain. Big pain. I need to sneeze. Don't you hate it when your sneeze is like right on the tip of your nose and you can feel it coming and it's just like staying there and it doesn't come out? I hate that. I really hate that. That's one of my worst things in life. Like, that is the worst thing ever. The worst feeling ever. It's just terrible. Absolutely terrible. Okay, Earthwalker, sure. Sure. Bum. Right. Hello. Let's destroy you. Let's destroy this man's. Kablam. Boom. He did. Love to see it. Do I have potions? I don't. Oof. That's a yikes. Oh well. That's fine. It is fine. We can just heal, I guess. Avalon is fantastic too. If I live in Avalon, I'd probably be in the upper Caerleon area. Fair enough. I would inhabit the keep of Ganyelon or whatever it's called. I would rule I would rule over Avalon with an iron fist. Dictator Brent. Yup, that would be me. I would be the evil man of Avalon. Yup. That's what I want to be. That's what I want to be. King Brentorius, exactly. That's me. Either Upper Caerleon or the Wild. There. I want to hear your thoughts on who does more damage in late game, Storm or Fire. It depends on your setup, and depends on what you mean by more damage. Both of them are pretty comparable. It just depends on, like, you know, what you define as more damage. More, like, damage at once, Storm. More, like, damage over time, Fire. But then also, Fire is pretty OP. Especially if you have a double Fire team. You can just melt bosses, or a lot of bosses. Only Fire could pull off a good Rain of Fire. True. Part of me prefers the weird, because it's isolated and away from neighbors. Fair. I would really like another blade, actually. But if we do this will kill. Storm doesn't get OT, so regular damage, base damage. Yeah, but then that's kind of unfair. Because you're basing that off, like, Storm's specialty and Fire's not specialty. So, that's not really a fair comparison. Both of them have their merits. But it's not really fair to, like, base it off just, like, you know, just, like, only single hit or, you know, only hits that hit at once. Because Fire doesn't have many of those that are actually good. Because that's not their specialty. Whereas if you're talking about damage, if you're doing it in general terms, then it depends on your strategy. And how you go about playing, and who you're playing with, and who's supporting you. It's really depends on your strategy. And also, like, is better damage mean, like, one-shots the boss, or does better damage mean, like, higher damage stat? Because if it's higher damage stat, then that's Storm. But if it's one-shot the boss, both of them are just as good as each other. So, it's like Myth. Myth could be put into that category as well, you know? Myth are just as capable as Storm and Fire. Just as capable. All of them have, you know, around the same-ish amount of damage. Obviously, Myth's a little bit lower, and Fire's a little bit lower than Storm, and Myth is even lower than Fire. But all three of them have similar damage ability. Sending Brent to Exile and Mirage. If anybody sent me to Exile and Mirage, I would just simply die. I hate deserts. I hate sand. I would simply just die. I would eat sand and die. That's what I would do. That's 100% what I would do. I would eat sand to die. Send him to Azteca. No! I would die. Meteor would hit me. Oh my gosh, you guys just want me dead. I see how it is. You don't agree on that. That's fair. Balance is not a solo school. Balance is in no way a solo school. Or, technically you can solo any school, but balance is painful, and anybody who solos balance is just like wanting to cry, but doesn't know how to actually cry IRL, so they just torture themselves in a game. That's why I solo a balance wizard, or I haven't actually much, but I will be in the future. Yeah, hi Sharia, welcome. How are you? Hope you're doing well today. Also Dev said they want Fire and Myth to have the highest PS stats in the future as of now. Yeah, exactly. Myth 7-pip AoE is stronger than Storm's 7-pip AoE. It is. It is. Myth has the strongest AoE, 7-pip AoE in the game. Orthrus is OP. Yeah. Is Celestia first or second arc? Second arc. Second arc. The first world of the second arc. We're gonna summon the little minion. The little minion. Little minion. Orthrus strong and OP as heck. It sure is. Orthrus is like one of the best spells in the game. I need to heal. Holy moly. Holy moly. That hurt. I need to not die. She's Myth. I'm probably going to die. Minion, that's not a heal. I don't have any heals. Oh my gosh. Don't hit me. Fizzle. 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 I'm dead. I'm dead. No. Don't hit me. Fizzle. Fizzle. It's a storm spell. Fizzle, please. How do you not fizzle a storm spell? But when I go on my storm, I fizzle every other spell. How is the sphere? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Devastating. Absolutely devastating. This is terrible. This is a sad, sad day. A sad, sad day. No. I just stole a fountain. Oopsies. Fountain no more. Best solo school in my opinion. Death, Storm with good gear / pet, maybe Fire Myth. I would say Death, Fire. Storm, I wouldn't recommend people to solo. You would get more frustrated by doing that than anything else. Yeah. Myth is also quite okay to solo, but they do have a problem of averagely low health, and a lot of their spells are kind of useless. So, yeah. My pet has Death Spell, which is Headless Horseman, I think. Headless is a good spell until you upgrade it with Spell Elements, and then it's not a good spell. Only solo Storm if you know what you're doing. Exactly. Exactly. It's like balance. Only solo that if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, then would not recommend at all. Like, just don't. Just don't do that. We do this. We do this. Just kidding, we don't do this. That's fine. Hopefully I get an Elemental Blade. Spirit Blade, sorry. That would be cool. That would be cool. I think I've gotten so used to soloing on Storm that I'm used to frustrating and forgetting about it after I win. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Makes complete sense. Right, that removes the weakness, which is cool. 69, nice. Nice. Haha, funny number. Bum ba ba dum bum 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 ba ba dum. Okay. Let's go for a... We'll just go for another blade, I guess. Any question? What does that mean? What does that mean? What do you mean? Wham. This whole area needs to be graphically updated. I just look at the ceiling when the Humunga Frog was being cast, and it's so pixelated. It's so pixelated. Man, they need to go through all of the first arc and just give it the Wizard City treatment. You know? Just put their little hands on it and just work their magic a little bit. I feel like that. See, look how pixelated it is. I can literally count the pixels in that. I can count the pixels in that. Holy moly. Any question? Right, fair enough. Yeah, it's the most neutral answer. You know? I can't be giving away all of my controversial Wiz opinions. you know? I need to just agree with them to make them feel like they are correct, you know? It's how it works. I need to just simply appear that I'm agreeing with them. I'm like, you know what? Fair. That's a fair point because you're valid. You see, it's a great way to not answer a question with my own thoughts and just tell them that they're right in my own little way. That's why I do it. That's why I do it. Because, you know, I like giving people the sense of knowledge, you know, and they're like, yeah, you know, I'm smart. I like giving them people that, you know. I feel like it's my one job that I'm good at, you know. It's just vital, absolutely vital. I'm gonna faint into an Earthwalker on this man's real fast, the boss. Wait, you say that to me all the time. Fair enough. Oh no, I'm exposing myself. I'm exposing myself. No. No. If Brent says fair enough, he doesn't agree. So a lot of the times I do agree with you, but also sometimes I just say it because I say it. It's just, I don't know, it's just one of the things that I say. I don't know how to explain it. I just say it. Like, you know, even like IRL, if people like come up to me and ask me a question or say a statement, even it's not a question, it's a statement, I'm just like, fair enough, you know, fair enough. It's just, I don't know what it is, but I just do that. That's just how I react to things. I'm going to your house, you should be worried. No. Joke's on you, I simply won't pick you up from the airport. Get wrecked. Yeah. Brent is like, I don't agree with you to my face all the time. Checkmate. True. I mean, there's some things that are like inherently wrong that I'm like, nah, I disagree with that. But like for the most part, a simple fair enough is all I need to reply to something, you know? It's also a thing that I say when I don't know what to say. So like someone would be like, what do you think of my pet? I think it's pretty good. And I'm like, fair enough. If you think it's good, that's pretty cool. You know, like, I don't know why you need me. If you think it's cool, that's fine. You know? Like, it's just something that I say when I don't know what to say. So, yeah. There's like 5 different meanings of fair enough. And you need to decipher which one I'm using. And you guys will never know. Haha. That's just how it works. That's just how it works. We're summoning Minion. Hopefully Minion can heal me a little bit. That would be good. That would be good. It's fair enough, Brent. Thanks for understanding me. Hi, Ryan. Welcome. I've been doing well. I've been doing well. How have you been? Oftentimes, people ask to feel validated. Sometimes people don't want honest truth. Exactly. You know? Like, there's just some occasions where I just don't need to roast them, you know? I don't need to roast the person, okay? I can just validate them and be like, fair. You know, that's fair. Those stats, fair enough. Fair enough using them. If that's what you want to choose, you can do that. And, you know, people like that, I guess. Because everyone has an inherent, like, I want to be validated. Validate me, please. I don't know what it is with people, but people just love validation. Constantly. It's probably because everybody's a narcissist. Like, most people are a narcissist, and they just love, like, hearing things about themselves. Which is why I let people speak. Like, generally, I really hate social interactions. I dislike speaking to people, generally. But, like, the one thing that I love doing is just listening to people, like, moan or like bicker about their problems. Because it's quite funny to see how, like, benign a lot of them are. Obviously, some of them are not very benign. But, like, generally, like, most people's problems are, like, you know, pretty simple. Like, man, I was going to work the other day, and this guy, he, like, cut me off, you know, and then I honked at him, and he went over and like pulled the finger at me. He got out. We had an argument. And like, what sort of people do that these days? You know, things like that. You know, it's just so like stupid, but like people feel the need to like, you know, just like get it off their chest. And I like just listening to that, because half the time it's just so funny. It's just so funny what people do. Yeah. So yeah. Minion healing me. Kinda nice. Kinda love it. Kinda love it. There are different fair enough. You have to decipher the tone of the fair enough. Exactly. You've been okay. You've been working a lot. Fair. I've been... Now you're making me self-conscious about me doing it all the time. I've been working a lot too. I've been working a lot too. The Death Eternal robe is better than Corporal Tennyson robe. Nice. Nice. I don't like people who are full of themselves. I don't mind it because I find it funny. I find it really funny half the time, because generally, in my opinion, if you're really full of yourself, it means you have some form of like, you know, like issues. And I find it like quite funny trying to like figure out what it is, you know, like what is wrong? Like what is the biggest insecurity of this person? You know, like why are they so full of themselves, or like such a big character that they have to like hide behind the character? Because like 99% of people are generally just hiding their true self behind like a facade, or whatever you want to call it, like something that is not them but they want it to be them, I guess. Like they're putting on a character every day, and that really interests me to like try and like go behind the person and try and figure out, like, you know, who are they really, you know, like are they actually this like, you know, crazy and wild, or are they like actually kind of like quiet, you know, just like sit in the background or whatever, you know, because like most people generally don't act the way that they would want to, generally, around others. Obviously there's some exceptions to that, but like most people put on like some form of character to a degree. Some people it's like really like a lot, and then some people are, you know, it's not quite as much. I just love that sort of stuff. It's kind of interesting to me. I'll tolerate people who are show-offs as long as they don't do it by buying me stuff. I don't mind that. If people want to buy me stuff, you know, I'm all for that. I will generally never like reciprocate it. But if people want to do that just to buy me or whatever, you know, I'll accept it. It doesn't mean we're friends or whatever. I'll accept it though. Yeah. You like to laugh at yourself sometimes. Everyone should be able to laugh at themselves, because if you can't laugh at yourself, then you can't really laugh at other people. That's generally my philosophy on that. Like, if you can't, you know, joke about something that you've done, then you shouldn't be joking about other people and like what they've done, you know. Like Gary the other day, he fell off a ladder, you know. That was pretty funny, but I can't laugh at that unless I laughed at the time that I fell off a ladder, you know, or something like that. Luckily Gary was unharmed in this situation that was completely fictional. But like generally, as a rule, you shouldn't really laugh at others until you can like comfortably laugh at yourself for your like your screw-ups, you know, because everybody makes screw-ups and that's fine. And like the fun part about screwing up is that you can, you know, you learn from it and you can laugh at it at the end, you know, like there's a lot of that. Obviously some things you shouldn't really laugh at and they're quite serious, but generally for 99% of the times that you make a mistake, you should come out of it like, one, more knowledgeable, and two, being able to laugh at yourself for it because you were an idiot or whatever you want to say. We got the egg. Nice. This has got so deep. Jeez. When did I get this deep? Holy moly. I laugh at my stupidity all the time. As you should. As you should. As you should. I laugh at myself all the time as well. It's quite funny. I have so many different, like, personalities, I guess. Not really personalities, but like so many different like iterations of myself depending on what I'm doing. Like there's the stream me who's kind of like, you know, a little bit more like laid back and slightly chilled. Sometimes gets a little bit frustrated. Slightly masochistic. That's where that side shines. But when I'm like around like other people, like I'm definitely not like that. So like, you know, and I use those sort of things to, and even that, I just laugh at myself for that because it's just so weird and funny. Like I fraction my life off into like so many different types of me that like, you know, this specific type of me is only generally out when I'm streaming, or like this like personality or whatever, you know, this craziness that I do is only when I'm working or whatever, you know, like it's just a bit weird. And like most people are generally like that. They have like different. Oh, when you go to, I need to really read where we're going first before trying to like walk there. It has multiple. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I have multiple personality syndrome. I'm just saying generally I act differently around other people. Generally, streaming turns you into a different person sometimes. Streaming, I can be a complete. Honestly, generally, I am quite a different person. I am quite a different person when I'm streaming than when I'm, like, not streaming. Rose can confirm. Yeah. But then, generally, most people are, like, kind of like that, you know? You wouldn't act like a certain way at work or something, whereas you would act that certain way around your friends or whatever, you know? Right, back to the Drake hatchery. Wiz can get frustrating. It can. It sure can. This is true, please believe him. Yes, believe me. I am a different person when I'm not streaming. Completely different person. Not like crazily different, but I am different. I am different. What's another game like Wiz? Pirate? I mean, I don't think I have ever found a game that is, like, similar to Wiz in the way that it's, like, you know, it's casual, and you don't have to be, like, super sweaty to win, but also has, like, some form of grind, and is also fun and not masochistic. I don't think I have found a game other than Pirate that, like, fits any of those categories. Like, all of those categories at once. Personally. There's a whole bunch of other, like, games in the genre, but for me, they just don't, like, you know, spark any interest, personally. That's not very helpful, I know, but that's just my thoughts on that. You believe me? Thanks, Dylan. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Some people would say Final Fantasy 14, but don't believe them. Yeah, I personally don't think that there is any game that is like Wiz, other than Pirate, which is, you know, similar. It's not like perfect. Oh, I hate these guys. I hate these guys. This is bringing me back to poison spam. Poison spam on my death. That was fun. Pirate is so similar, one would call it Pirate 101. True. True. Pirate doesn't really count. Well, it's another game. You didn't say that there was a stipulation that it had to not be made by KingsIsle. You just said another game that's similar, so I gave you an option. But yeah, I personally don't think there's like any game, especially for me, I don't think there's any game that incorporates like what I like about Wiz without things that I hate about other games, you know, like I don't like when it's like super duper focused on like being the best. I don't really care about that. I don't want to necessarily grind like 500 million years just to get the best gear that is like, you know, in like 3 weeks time is pretty much useless because, you know, the game's updated again. So I kind of like Wiz for that, because there's generally a decent amount of time between updates, which I enjoy. I actually think is probably the best thing for the game, having a decent amount of time. Hi Zach, welcome. How are you? Hope you're doing well. A decent amount of time between updates, because it allows people to, you know, enjoy the content at a leisurely pace, but also doesn't mean that anything that is in that update is basically like outdated in a few weeks. I don't really like that personally. I'm doing well. Yeah, and like that's one thing that I don't like about games that like update like all the time. Generally, some of them need it still, obviously, but like most of, especially like older games that still get updates like all the time in this genre generally, are kind of just like annoying, because it generally just adds in way too much power creep for no reason, other than, oh, here's a new update, you gotta grind to get the new gear that'll be outdated in 3 weeks or like a month or 2 months, you know. Whereas at least in Wiz, you generally have like one meta for like a whole year, and then it evolves slightly, which I enjoy a little bit more. What's my opinion on the current state of Wiz? In what way? What part of Wiz? Like as a general game, or as like is there like a specific part that you want me to talk about? Because there's so many different like parts of Wiz that are like, you know, that I could talk about. Current state is so different. The different spell changes, okay. I like the Rochambeau stuff. I feel like a lot of the people are put off by the hieroglyphics, which are these little icon things, because everyone calls them hieroglyphics as a joke because they're so confusing, so I'll call them hieroglyphics. I think people get a little bit put off by the hieroglyphics because they're new, and don't know what half of them mean, which is fine, understandable. I don't think people have given enough thought into how the game, you know, could evolve. I do believe that there's a place for, like, especially the utility spells that, the Rochambeau utility spells, they should be incorporated into PvE, personally. It doesn't mean you have to use them. I just think it's a little bit stupid to, like, block them off from PvE completely. It just doesn't make sense. I hate these guys so much. I want them to just explode. Just 100% I want these guys to explode. I feel like there is a little bit of lack of consistency with the spells, though. That's probably my biggest, like, criticism of spells at the moment. Because of the, like, all of the spell audits that have happened, like, every single update, it seems. Every single spell has changed so drastically from what it used to be that it gets to a point of you'll get a spell cast on you by an enemy and you're not sure what it's going to do. And from an accessibility stand, that shouldn't be how it is. Like, you should know that this animation correlates to this spell and this action. So, like, for example, you can correlate, you know, Triton to doing damage to you. Like, something like that. You correlate Sirens to be doing an AoE and a Mantle, or whatever it does now. I can't remember. You know, that's what it should be. Whereas I feel like they've changed so many spells recently that some people are still correlating it to doing other stuff, which is fine because it may not do that anymore. But then also, is that acceptable? Because if you're gonna be having a game that is, like, you know, does have a younger audience at times, and originally that's what it was going for, I feel like the simplicity of, like, the base spell design, this spell does this, okay? There's a different animation for it because it does something different to, you know, Firecat does something different to Fire Elf, and there's a different animation to, you know, prove that. Otherwise, there's no point having different animations. You might as well just have one animation for every single spell in the game, because what's the point of having a different animation if it's going to do something different each time? That's one thing that I dislike about the game from an accessibility point of view. I do think all of the AoEs should be updated to hit everyone at once. I think that should be a priority for King's Isle. What else? What else? What else? The over-catering to PvP sucks, but Rochambeau is cool, I guess. I don't mind the over-catering to PvP, I just don't think that... I think there's a fine line of where it like, gets a little bit out of hand. Whereas Rochambeau, as a concept, is, like, really good. I just think that, especially the utilities, should be allowed into PvE, because it would give people an opportunity to use them before they go into PvP. So if they wanted to do it in PvP, they kind of know how it works, you know? And they kind of already understand how the game kind of revolves around the Rochambeau wheel. And I feel like the fact that most of it is, like, you know, aimed as PvP, it was kind of pitched as a PvP update, you kind of don't really hear any other people other than PvP players talking about it, because, you know, for the most part, PvE, you don't need to use those sort of things. It makes it complicated for people. And then you get to, spoiler alert, the last boss of Novus, where you have to use those sort of mechanics. People in PvE flounder because they don't know what they're doing. Because it's not a concept that they have been taught. Because they haven't had those spells utilized for them. Like, they don't know how to use them, they don't know what the symbols mean. And that is a big issue, I think. Especially for accessibility reasons, again, because, like, one of the best things about this game is how simple it is to just pick up and know what you're doing. Like, the core concept of this game is, you know, walk around, get a quest, pick a spell, cast a spell, kill the enemy. Like, that is basically the gameplay route. There is nothing more to do in the game. That is literally it. That is the most simple thing that you can pick up overnight. Whereas with all of these changes to spells, it does make it a little bit more complicated, and there's no real way to, you know, test out different strategies, because, you know, all of these things are locked behind PvP. But then PvP players are way better than you because they've been doing this for a long time. You know, they know so much more about all of the ins and outs of these spells and how they work with each other because they've been doing it for so long. Whereas PvE players, you give them these things, they can learn, but if you just give them where they can't learn, they're never going to learn. And they're never going to want to learn because it's too complicated to them. So there's like a very thin line where you have to cross, that you need to allow people to try it without making it feel like, I don't want to do it because it's too complicated. So that's my opinion on that. That's why I think the utilities should be allowed. I don't really care about the scions, you know, and the djinns and the onis. I don't really care about that. But I do feel like there should be an opportunity to use the utility spells, the 3-pip utility spells, because I feel like that's beneficial to gameplay. What's Rochambeau? It's basically the thought that it's kind of like rock, paper, scissors. So, like, every action has a reaction to it. So, for example, if I weakness, there's a spell that could turn that into a blade. But then you could counter that blade with turning that into a shield or something like that. And it's kind of like a circle, so you can go kind of around and around in a wheel. That's kind of like the concept of Rochambeau, generally. So, like, if you think about it as rock, paper, scissors, and, for example, you have a blade, a trap, and a shield. So, someone may play a card that puts up a blade. Someone could counter that by turning that blade into a weakness. And then someone could come around and turn that weakness into a shield on themselves. Or something along those lines. That's kind of like the concept of it. That everything that you do has a reaction to it that can be turned into something else. And it beats it, technically. That's kind of the concept of Rochambeau, generally. Where is this guy? Is he down the bottom? He must be. He must be. That's basically the concept of that. What the hell are those green pips? These are school pips. Basically allows you to cast a spell at the cost of a power. Basically, it's a power pip for a school. So, for example, if I were to cast Vampire. Actually, you know what? I'll do it in the fight. I'll put in a vampire. Yeah. Let's put in 2 vampires. Because why not? Why not? Might as well. So, this green pip indicates a life pip. If I change this to death, in a few rounds, when I get another power pip, or when I generate enough to make a school pip, I will be able to I'll get a death pip, which basically means that pip acts as a power pip for the death school, or a power pip for your own school, or any school that you have a mastery on. So, for example, if you have a mastery amulet for balance, you can also use that for a balance spell. But basically, it allows you to have a mastery pip for a school that you don't have a mastery for. So, for example, if I get 2 death pips, I can cast a vampire on the enemy, which I'll show you, just to prove that it works. So there we go. I've got a black pip now. I've got a life pip and a black one, which is the death pip. So theoretically, I can cast a vampire if I could get the spell. If I could get the spell, I could cast a vampire next round. I don't like how law spells are now school pips. It's stupid. I'm undecided on that. I understand it. I don't necessarily like it, but I kind of agree with it at the same time. I'm like on the fence of that personally. Personally on the fence. Let me do this. Hard to use law spells in Decathlon now? Yeah, it is. It is basically impossible, nearly. You can get more than one kind. You can get one for every single school. So all of the 7 schools, you can get one for. Life, Myth, Death, Balance, Ice, Fire, and Storm. All of those you can get a pip for. And it allows you to use a spell from that school, basically. It will eat the pip cost. So you're not using like 6 power pips to do a 3 pip spell. So for example, previously, if I wanted to cast a Storm Shark on this character, I'd have to waste 6 power pips, or 3 power pips to cast it. Whereas now I could simply not do that. And I will show that in a sec when I get a vampire. Do you think Storm should be nerfed or stay the same? I think it should stay the same. I don't agree with nerfing anybody. I don't think anybody needs nerfs. It just means that either the meta needs to shift a little bit, or other schools need to be buffed in comparison. And generally for PvE, nobody should necessarily be nerfed. There should just be more of a balance between things, and stats should be tweaked slightly to get that balance. In PvE, I don't know why anybody would need a nerf. I don't think that's necessary, personally. I'm kind of mad that the science spells they gave us spells we will never use. Why are they 11 pips? Well, they're 11 pips because it follows the pip progression of the spells, which is why they got shadow pips to kind of counter that, because, you know, they didn't have to do like 12 pip, you know. And where do you go from there? Because you can only have 12 pips, I believe. Let's see if it's 12 or 14. I can't remember exactly. But, like, there's only so many. But people do use Scion because it is generally a decent spell that you can double, which is kind of nice. It just takes some setting up to do at times. I'm just waiting for a vampire. That's why I'm not killing. Yeah. You think Frog could use a buff? I don't think so. Earthquake could probably use a nerf. Nah, I'm not really serious on that. But I don't necessarily think there's any spells that particularly need a buff, per se. Most of them are pretty in line of what they should be now. Yeah. What do you think is the most broken spell in the game? Here we go. So this is only going to use 2 death pips instead of 2 power pips and 2 regular pips that it would normally take. Medusa. Medusa is pretty broken. Medusa is pretty broken. I don't know if there's one particular spell. I guess Scarecrow is pretty broken. Yeah. So there we go. It used 2 death pips instead of my 2 noob pips and 2 power pips. So, yeah. Very cool. Now I can change back to life. So yeah, basically you just click on that and you can choose any school you want. Confuse. Yeah, Confuse is pretty OP. That's pretty broken. What would you say is the rarest piece of gear to get? I guess it's the... Is it a ring that's dropped in Tartarus? That is, like, pretty good, but is very rare. Or is it... Oh, the Blade of the Fell Titan, is that it? I don't know. It's one of those, like, really rare things. I don't have one ever, but, yeah. Amulet of the Divine Influence, that's it. That's it. That's it. Yeah, that's it. That's probably the rarest thing in the game. You can never tell if Confuse works. Yeah, it's a bit weird. It's a bit weird. It's very finicky, I find. How many blades do I have? 2 life blades. I would really love to get a Earthwalker right now. Right now! Only drop from Hades, but it's a really low drop rate. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm waiting for an Earthwalker. I want an Earthwalker right now. Give it to me. Give me an Earthwalker, please. Please. Please, game. Confuse does not apply the round it is cast on you, but the 2 rounds after, and it pretty much always makes you hit yourself, and it's so annoying. It doesn't necessarily always make you hit yourself, especially if you're smart about it and remove your hits. But then sometimes it just simply does not work either, especially if you're talking about the Confuse that Tatzelworm had. It's not actually always guaranteed. It will still do the animation, but it's not actually guaranteed that you are confused, which is in itself a bit confusing. There we go. I don't think Tatzelworm has Confuse anymore. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. But yeah. It either makes you hit Blade the enemy and reshuffle other enemy, yeah. Well, it depends on what you have in your hand. Basically, it just chooses a spell in your hand and casts it. And it will cast it as if the enemy is casting it from their hand. So, for example, if you have a Scarecrow in your hand, it'll cast it as if the enemy's casting it, and it will hit your team instead. That's basically how Confuse works, essentially. Essentially, that's how Confuse works. Hi, Temporary Slim, welcome. I'm new to Wizard, although I played when I was a kid, back at its launch. How long should I go before starting a new character? Should I beat the whole game first, or just whenever? You should do whatever you feel is best. Like, if you get sick of a character, just start a new one. Might as well. There's no real downside to starting a new character. Yeah, I would just say play how you want to play. You know, if you find, you know, you get towards later in the game and you don't really like the character, you can start a new one. I wouldn't recommend deleting any characters though, just keep them, because eventually you might want to play on them again. Yeah, that would be my tip. Actually, this is good for getting out all of those noob pips. Least favorite world and favorite world. Least favorite is Azteca. Favorite world. I'm not actually sure what my favorite world is at the moment. And the top favorites is Lemuria, Marleybone, Polaris, and Imperia. One of those ones. It depends on the day. Depends on the day. Depends on the day, pretty much. Your favorite world is Chrysalis. Fair. Fair enough. The whole first arc is free until the end of the month, so now is the time to start playing again. If you haven't, that is true. That is true. Your favorite world, Avalon and Celestia. Avalon I can see. Celestia, I don't understand why people like Celestia. It's such a dull world. It's such a boring world. No offense. No offense. It's just so, like... It's a bit yikes, in my opinion. It's a bit yikes. It doesn't really have, like, a cohesive story. It's all very samey. It's, like, in an awkward stage of it's kind of looks okay, but it also kind of doesn't look okay. The difficulty is quite high as well, so if you're a new player, like, going into Celestia is quite a learning curve. Yeah. Least favorite is Celestia. My least favorite is definitely not Celestia. Celestia is a good world. I just feel like it's in my opinion, is not a valid favorite world. Because it's just a little bit like, the story doesn't really matter in Celestia. Like, it doesn't really, you don't go like, yes, Morganth, bad guy. You know, you barely learn anything about Morganth. It's kind of like, you know, yeah, forgettable, you know. It's like Avalon. The story of Avalon, kind of forgettable. And for me, story is quite an important part. So like, you know, Zafaria, pretty forgettable as well. The whole of Arc 2 is pretty much forgettable. Which is why I don't rate any of the Arc 2 worlds highly, because story is an important part of the game, and all of them are just kind of trash. We're going down here. Whoopsie doopsie. Oopsie doopsie. Brent has revoked your validity. Exactly. I did not fair enough you, so sorry, but you are not getting validated by me today. You're allowed to like Celestia. I just, in my opinion, it's not a valid choice. Personally. Ugliest world, Dragonspire. 100% Dragonspire. Or Mushu. Dragonspire or Mushu. Those are the two ugliest worlds in the game. Don't at me. I don't want to hear, but Mushu's so pretty. It's not. It's ugly. Mushu and Pirate is pretty. Mushu and Wiz, ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Favorite music theme in Wiz? The combat theme in New Vicorgia. Followed closely by the Rasputin theme from Polaris. I felt Winter Tusk bosses were the hardest in the game so far, but until that we were supposed to do it, since I went in it right at 44 after Dragonspire. Yeah, Winter Tusk is generally, I would say, Winter Tusk is more of a level 60 world, in my opinion. It gives good XP, really, really good XP, but for me, I'm not really a fan of doing Winter Tusk too early, because it is a very steep difficulty curve. Compared to Celestia, it's even more insane. Which is kind of cool, but also it's like a little bit insane. A little bit insane at the same time. Little bit insane. Forum. Haha, finally. Finally! We are leaving this place. Love to see it.